Hello everyone, welcome to another showcase here on Dark Souls 3. Now, we covered some awesome weapons, but I want to dial back and take a look at more of the other weapons, the ones that often get ignored. Some people might jump that these weapons may be terrible, but I'm always willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, just because a weapon's not long, doesn't mean it's horrible. And just because it's short, doesn't mean it's terrible. It just means it's very, very quick. So for today's item, we'll be looking at the Harpe? These weird names. Anyway, I'm not sure how to pronounce this weapon right. Never could by its design. But it's a type of sickle, used on basic farming. Now, it's not a farm tool, mind you, but this large sickle-shaped body is used for severing corpses. It's a tool for the undead settlement. Or it's used to cut grain. Why is nothing used correctly in this game? Every farming tool is meant for murder. The sharp edges on the inside of the weapon itself designed for cutting and pulling, thus allowing for good damage against shielded foes, which we'll be testing later on. The skill is shared between nearly every dagger as the quick step. Simply step behind or around the side of foes, especially effective when locked on to targets. The quick step's alright. It's only a little bit better than the roll. Roll is still rather used because it doesn't use FP, but it's there. It's quicker, slightly. But yes, no, all these damn effing tools. But anyway, looking around the web, I did find the actual Harpe sword weapon. Yeah, that's right. It's a sword. Now, I'm not sure where this one went wrong. This is the same name, and it's identified as a sickle sword hybrid, given its design. So this seems to relate somewhat, but I think the developers may have only read the description of it, and then just kind of made up from there. So this weapon, if it's based on everything I've read, it's not really historically accurate in any shape, way, or form. A bit lazy in that, but what can you do? So, looking at the stats for this dagger, I think it's a dagger. The physical, well, no surprise, it's very low. It is a dagger after all, at least in that class. But the critical is only 100, so it does not get any bonus damage there. The attribute bonus, you get E for strength and C for dexterity, which is nice, but you don't get a whole lot of bonus damage given its low stats. Attribute requirements, you need next to nothing. Very little strength and only a very tiny amount of dexterity. Other than that, the quick step is the standard used move across multiple daggers, and it costs very little to use. And just as small as that cost, is its weight is also very light. It's a bit heavier than most other daggers, but that's not exactly saying much. For the basic animations, the basic attack is the plain dagger attack, the swipes. Very rapid. Power attack is a really quick, heavy swipe. Again, shared through daggers, nothing special there. Two-handed basic attack is... Wait, he just tried to jab at that? Let's see it again in slow motion. Yeah, he tried to jab at that thing. God. That's a fail. The heavy attack is very heavy lunges. Looks unique to this weapon. And you got the quick step. You can do it in any direction rapidly. And the quick sprint is a swipe. Now, on the upgrade, this weapon does take the plain old Tate-Knight shards. But man, that bonus damage. I was shitting on some of the previous weapons for that, but this is now the lowest upgrade for bonus damage I've seen. Only 4 damage. 5 damage. And 5 again. That's just horrible. At least it's 6 now, but you're already halfway into the upgrade before I even get 5 points. But at least the dexterity bonus goes to B. But that's not saying much on this weapon. You still barely get any points at all. So how does it perform in field? Well, you gotta be good at dodging. Because you got short reach, and the weapon's not exactly powerful. So you gotta go for them back attacks. Use your quick step if you need to. And try to get in between your opponent's moves, preferably. Critical attack does do nice damage, around 280. It's kind of what's expected. But yes, the little side step, or the quick step, consumes very little FP, so take good advantage of it. If you're more of a dexterity build, you're not really using a whole FP in the first place. Now against unarmed opponents, the weapon has no trouble. Now, it did mention something about being useful against shielded opponents. Let's try that now. Let him get his shield up. Okay, basic attack only did 15 damage. And did not really penetrate at all. And again, it happened yet again. That was power attack and normal attack. So that description was bullshitting us. I'm not getting to that shield. Nope. Maybe it'll work on a tiny shield, but definitely not a great shield. Definitely not. So that's a blatant lie. This weapon's just going swell, isn't it? And this guy really doesn't want me to get behind him. But no matter, he's good as cooked now. But of all 3 runs, that was the best one I had. Still, moving on to much bigger opponents, this is always a bad idea, but the DPS weapon is what you gotta aim for now. And you can't backstab them, just stab repeatedly until they can no longer stand. Luckily, the opponent's large and slow, making this quite easy. And you hit them up times, you stagger them, but that happens with any weapon. Now, moving on from that, we got the Dark Knights. Now, these guys, I'm not even going to try to fight them conventionally. It's going to be straight up backstabbing. These guys have heavy armor, they're quick, and they hurt. So I have no intention to fight fairly. It's going to be straight, just backstabbing. Which at least does moderate damage, 250. Not excellent, but it's worse weapons, but to be honest, not a whole lot of them. This is a dagger that doesn't have any special features on it. At all. That's kind of like the big downer on this weapon. No special features, and not to mention there's so many things wrong with it as we've seen here. Oh boy. Moving on to the pros and cons of the Harpe. I think that's how it's still called. But anyway, on the pro side, you've got a high DPS, for since this is dagger type, and quick attacks. Also, the quick step is useful. It's slightly better than rolling. On the con side, however, you've got poor damage, short reach, and the description lied on that whole being useful against shields. Maybe it's useful against tiny shields, but not great shields. And that's enough of that. Moving on to the score, I'll give damage a 3 out of 10. There's weaker weapons, but not a whole lot of them out there. Reach, 2 out of 10. It's longer than the plain dagger. I'll give it that much. Animations, 2. For having an animation with a jabbing motion when this weapon is clearly not a jab tool. Oh, that's horrible. Just horrible. At least give it 1 point for having the unique power attack. I think it's unique, well, not many daggers would show it. Anyway, the bonus, I'll give it a 4 out of 10, for at least going to B, but not doing a whole lot with it. At least to B for dexterity is what I mean. Miscellaneous, a 1 out of 10, for it's not being historically accurate, and the description lying to us about the whole shield fiasco. Yeah. So in total, the Harpe gets 12 points out of 50. Terrible. Terrible weapon. Man, give it the benefit of the doubt and look what happens. Oh man, that weapon is a stinker. Jesus. Horrible. But then again, not many weapons do shine, and at least only very few weapons are horrible. From what I've observed anyway. But oh well. I wouldn't recommend using this weapon at all. But that's my opinion. That's today's showcase. I thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Take care out there.